All right, let's talk about something really interesting. A subtle shift, but a profound one that can happen deep inside. We're talking about a change that gets right to the core of who you think you are.
So, where does this all begin? Well, it often starts right here, in a state of real, sustained quiet on the inside. And I don't just mean a quick moment of peace. We're talking about something that sticks around. And once that quiet becomes stable, that's when something, well, unexpected starts to happen. It's a change that, honestly, most people just don't see coming.
Now, what's fascinating here is what isn't changing. A lot of people might think, oh, this must mean my thoughts and emotions disappear. Nope, that's not it at all. Those things keep right on going.
Now, this change is way deeper. It's the actual feeling of me, the main character in your own life story. That's what starts to feel different. So, what on earth does that actually mean?
Okay, to get our heads around this, we've got to first look at how we usually experience our sense of self. For pretty much all of us, it's a really active thing.
Think about it. Our feeling of I usually comes from a mind that is constantly buzzing, constantly doing something. It's not some solid thing we just have. It's more like something we're building, moment by moment, out of all that mental and emotional activity.
And what are the building blocks? Well, it's all this stuff. We're thinking, right? We're reacting. We're preparing for what's coming up next. All of that constant motion creates this really solid, continuous feeling that there's a me right in the middle of everything.
So here's the million-dollar question. What happens when that constant hum just starts to quiet down? Suddenly, the whole structure you've built your identity on can start to feel, less solid, almost like you can see right through it. And that leads us right here. What happens when that me starts to soften up? Honestly, for a lot of people, this can be super confusing, maybe even a little scary at first.
And look, it's totally natural for it to feel unsettling. I mean, if you spent your whole life with this solid feeling of self, and then suddenly that starts to get a little shaky, yeah, you're going to feel disoriented.
This really just says it all, doesn't it? It feels like something important is just dissolving, like the very core of who you are is just fading away. And yeah, that can feel like a huge loss.
So of course, that leads you to ask a pretty big question. Wait, is something really missing here? Is a part of me actually disappearing? The real fear, deep down, is that your identity is just fading away. That the person you've always been is just being erased. But is that really what's going on? And the answer, which might surprise you, is a big, fat no. This is the absolute key. Even though it feels like a loss, nothing, and I mean nothing essential, is actually gone. Okay, let's break this down because it's so important. On the left, you've got what feels like it's missing, but it's not you that's missing. It's that constant, non-stop habit of self-referencing, that endless story of me, my, I. Now look at the right. What's left? Oh, just everything that actually matters. Awareness is still there. Perception is still there. Your ability to respond to life, totally intact.
So, what's it actually like to live this way, with less of that internal chatter? The best way I can describe it is, it's like watching a movie, but you've turned off the director's commentary track. And this is just a perfect way to put it. Experience happens with less narration. Life is still happening. It's just that the little voice inside that's always explaining it, judging it, and stamping mine on everything, that voice has gotten a whole lot quieter.
Let's use a real-world example. So, before, a bird chirps outside. Your mind instantly jumps in. Oh, I hear a bird. That's my sound. That's nice. It reminds me of. And boom, you're off into a whole story. But after this shift, a bird chirps, and the sound is just heard. That's it. Simple. Direct. No extra layer of me on top. Now, because of this, people sometimes describe the experience as impersonal. But that word can be really misleading, right? It doesn't mean you become some cold, distant robot. Not at all. It just means that life isn't constantly being filtered through that lens of me anymore.
So, where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway here? How are we supposed to think about this massive change in our sense of self?
If you remember one thing, let it be this. A changing sense of self does not mean you are losing yourself. It's not about erasure. It's not a loss. It's a transformation.
What it really means is this. There are fewer layers between you and your actual experience. Instead of seeing the world through this thick filter of your personal story, you just start to experience it directly, as it is. There's just less stuff in the way.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. Once all the drama of the self starts to fade into the background, what's left? What does life actually feel like when it's quieter, simpler, and maybe strangely more ordinary?